Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Odoo Live. My name is JC Hincapie from the partnerships team here at Odoo. Wanted to thank you guys for joining us today in this meeting. We'll be going over a couple of different things pertaining to partnership. More importantly, our partnership partners at Odoo are able to monetize our platform, and more importantly, how they can receive or basically how they can visualize the return on investments. First, I want to welcome everyone that is joining us today. Maybe you know a little bit about Odoo, maybe you're a partner of ours already, but whichever it is, please, we have a chat here to the right-hand side. We will be joined by a couple of colleagues of mine. So if you guys happen to have any questions pertaining to partnerships, pertaining to monetizing the platform, anything, you just want to chat with somebody, please punch in those questions to the right-hand side. Also, I welcome you guys to say hello, introduce yourselves. We want to hear from the community. We want to hear from the folks that are watching us, so we can, of course, produce more of this content back to you guys. So, without further ado, I wanted to move forward with our presentation. My name is JC Hincapie. As I mentioned to you guys previously, I work out of the San Francisco offices, and part of my responsibilities is showcase Odoo to folks that want to become partners or distributors of our tools. What a partner is to us is a person that does implementations locally for our product. One thing that I wanted to highlight is we specifically, because of COVID times, we have seen a tremendous growth in the need of companies to digitalize, in the need for companies to start streamlining processes with a single solution, with a single accessible and affordable solution. And because of that, the growth that we've been able to have and sustain since, of course, the shutdown has been tremendous. And this is why we're having these webinars. This is why we're reaching out to folks like yourselves, so you can become part of the wave that is happening with Odoo. When I started working at Odoo about 3 years ago, I think I must have been in the San Francisco office. I must have been employee number 60 or something. We currently have about 300 employees. Initially, when we were doing presentations like this, and in the slides, the number of users that we were showing were maybe like 1 million users or so, 2 million users. Right now, we're boasting something like 7 million users worldwide. So the growth that we've been able to have, and even though this is a 16-year-old company, the growth that we've been able to have and sustain has really been only in the past couple of years since really I started to join. So the growth that we are having has been tremendous. And so, of course, this is what we're doing. We're having a call to action for our partners to not only understand more about the partnership program that we offer, but more importantly, how you can monetize and you can actually see in terms of dollars and cents your ROI from the investment in the partnership program and how you can monetize it with us at Odoo. So that's the program that we're going to be having today. This is going to be the agenda. By the way, not only myself, but also a couple of different colleagues have done a couple of different of these webinars that we go over a couple of the same points. Of course, this is for new audiences that maybe don't know about Odoo, but we just want to highlight a couple of different things. Of course, we will have the people in the chatter to go over any questions that you guys may have. But yeah, we want to speak about who we are briefly, where we're coming from, where we're going, and more importantly, how partners fit into this role. We will briefly, once again, skim over the partnership benefits. This is not a partnership benefits conversation, but we'll skim over them. More importantly, how we can monetize them. Of course, the monetization of the Odoo partnership program, the ways that we can monetize, the ways that we have seen partners not only grow their community and their companies through the Odoo partnership program, but also the way that we've been able to go to market with them. And then the last thing, and of course, the need of this conversation is going to be the use cases and the ROI. Really visually drill into the numbers and see how they look like for ourselves, for our end customers, and more importantly for you, the CEO that may be looking at this and maybe thinking, do I want to add another offering to my business? Do I want to add this new platform that other clients of mine have been asking of me? This is where we're going to drill into the nitty-gritty, to the dollars and cents, to see if it actually makes sense for you. So in any case, and then afterwards, we're going to have live audience extras for you. If you want to move forward with partnerships, we have some really great incentives from now until the end of the month for beginning of Q2 for you to become a partner of ours. But yeah, let's dive right into it. About Odoo. Odoo is a company that started in 2005. Again, I mentioned less than 16 years old. And since the inception, the whole idea behind it, the whole premise behind it, was to help organizations grow by giving them tools, easy to use, and tools for them to be able to grow their business. Because of this mission and vision, we've been able to grow to these statistics. 5.5, actually, I have to update that, 6 million users worldwide, north of 2,700 partners all over the world, all over the map, in 131 countries plus, 3,000 new databases per day, which makes us the most downloaded open source ERP system in the planet. And we enjoy close to 21,000 different applications in our marketplace, making us one of the most diverse marketplaces in the world. And these applications, of course, are part of the offering that our partners actually go to market with us. These are integration with third-party applications. These are applications that they just come up because it may not be just part of the ERP as a whole. These may be verticals that they're addressing that are simply not out of the box per se, but that are out of the scope of the out-of-the-box product. So because of this growth that we've been able to have and sustain, the growth is, of course, fueled by our Odoo ecosystem. An Odoo ecosystem that has been true and tried. We tried out a couple of different systems in the past, a couple of different ways of going to market in the past. Before it was freemium with services. Then we completely open source. Then we transitioned over to open core with, of course, the help of our partners. And we just seem to see that was sort of the best way to grow our ecosystem. At the top, we have, of course, Odoo. Odoo, the manufacturer of the product. Odoo produces the mission, the vision, the strategy to go to market. We develop not only the community edition, but also the enterprise edition. Updates every single year. I don't know if you're familiar with our product, but if you're not, we have a brand new iteration like clockwork every year, which we release brand new applications, brand new features that add to the robustness of our tool. Of course, this is the Odoo's growth and Odoo's innovation is able to be fueled by something that we call the community. The community is about 20,000 strong or more individuals that help us understand the product a little better. They give us direct feedback to our product. They help us by building new applications, the applications that I just mentioned previously. They help us by fixing bugs and addressing security issues and concerns. And in fact, if you dive over to the forum and if you type any question, technical or functional, you will be able to get an answer relatively swiftly because the community that we've been able to grow and build in the past 15 years has been able to really be a point of guide, really, for new customers and new partners. So a lot of those answers that you're able to see answered there are part of the community that are fueling this growth. And so, of course, they give us direct feedback onto the platform to see what we should be fixing or building next. One of the most important strategies, and this feeds back to the folks that are listening to me, hopefully, are our Odoo partners. Our Odoo partners are an extremely strong pillar of our organization, something to the tune of, I believe that Fabian mentioned it previously, 65% of our revenues emanate from our partners, and therefore they just make one of the most important go-to-market strategies for us and with us. ERP as a whole is a very robust tool. Some customers want that local support for us to be able to address and implement locally where they are, their systems. And by that, as an ERP, in order for us to scale and grow, it would be very difficult for us to individually go and send somebody out to do an implementation on site. And so this is why we have our partners that help us do go-to-market with new app developments. They, of course, as I mentioned to you, they help us grow our organization. And of course, because as a partnership, there's a symbiosis there where the growth that they allow for us to enjoy, we also give it in terms of benefits. And we'll speak about that in a couple of seconds here. And then, of course, at the very bottom, at the very end, the cascading of all of these processes ends up our Odoo clients. Not only our Odoo clients, but also our partners as clients. They're the ones that are able to reap the benefits of us going to market for 15 years and figuring out the best solution or the best way for us to deploy this platform and implement it successfully to our customers. Our customers, of course, are what keep the lights on here. They're the ones that really fuel our growth and the reason why we are able to release one version after the next. Every single year. Like clockwork, we listen to the feedback, we listen to the needs that they want, and of course they also enjoy the services and support that not only us as Odoo are able to provide for them, but also our partners. Knowing now about the ecosystem and the way that we've been able to build ourselves for the past 15 years, I think that it's important to highlight the value proposition that Odoo has for not only ourselves, how we stand out and how we stack against, say, the ERP market, but also individual markets. And I think that the next slide really highlights these points. We got this statistic from Forbes. On average, a company utilizes 14 different applications, not including freemiums. And by the way, this number is growing on a day-to-day basis. And what's important is also that the mid-market commercial, the mid-market companies are utilizing something like 50 different applications to run their day-to-day operations. And this is what ends up looking like. Just a disjointed network of individual applications. Great applications, by the way, in their own right. You know, I mean, I think Salesforce is synonymous with CRM. QuickBooks is synonymous with accounting. WordPress synonymous with website building in the past. Of course, in order for you to speak to your customers or even your internal stakeholders, there is a level of traceability that is lost along the way because of this myriad of different applications lost in the way. So there's no native integration, there's no centralized intelligence, and for sometimes partners of ours are very much technical. And so for partners that are listening to this, you may have to build an API and then maintain it. So there's an extra cost associated to that. So you're already paying licensing for all these tools. And then on top of that, you're now paying for an integration from one place to yet another one. And then for end customers, I think that it's important to highlight that you're also building yourselves barriers of entry where we've seen these job ads. You know, you have to have 5 years of experience using Salesforce or 3 years of experience using QuickBooks. You yourself are building barriers of entry by hiring and training employees that are joining your company in various different systems, in a myriad of different systems. So it's just unscalable, disjointed, and we think that there's a better way. And the better way, the way that we see it is this, is that you ought to have just one tool in order to communicate not only internally with your stakeholders and your employees and the folks that are actively utilizing your platform, but more importantly, your customers. One-stop shop for you to be able to have all the resources in order to run effectively your company. So that's our platform and the way that we go to market. I wanted to before we dove into sort of the partnership benefits and the meat of this conversation, which is the ROI, I wanted to mention about the partnership model and more specifically about the way that we position ourselves, not in the market, just with ourselves. We may have in the audience some partners that come from NetSuite, some partners that come from, I don't know, Sugar CRM or another system. The way that we see it is this, is that although it may be daunting for a new partner of ours to take the jump, the leap, to say, hey, you know, I need to become a partner, I want to become a partner and offer these very specific resources, I think it's even more of a daunting task for somebody like your client to adapt a brand new system that they may not have heard of. And so what I always like to do is, or say rather, is that for our partners, course, highlighting the benefits. But for our partners, we want to be able to give you that assurance that we will be there with you along the way. And I like to show this slide, that we generally like to support our partners in 3 main ways. So one, functionally, by giving you all the right tools for you to be able to know the platform both in and out. Technically, by giving you access to that help desk for you to always be able to access our support in case you stumble upon any issues, any bugs, anything like that, you should be able to send it to us, our bug fixing. And then commercially, one of the things that I always like to highlight is our support when it comes to account management. I think that our support and account management is a pivotal point on our relationship as partners. We not only will keep you accountable for some things that that you're signing up with us, such as knowing the platform, such as doing a good implementation, but also we want to be able to give you that assurance that, hey, if you need support from us on our side, let's say that you would like to go to market with our customer here and you'd like to do a demonstration, you can always rely upon our account management team to be able to help you commercially in that regard. And also, of course, if you need an extra help, say and of course I'll mention this in the benefits, but say doing a negotiation with your end customer would be able to help you with that, of course, as well. So the benefits, diving right into the partnership itself. We at Odoo come from an open source world where, of course, you had a complete access to the source code for you to be able to customize your ERP. We pivoted over to the Enterprise Edition, which is the open core. Still, our partners get access to the source code, and this can be expressed in our GitHub through odoo.sh, which we will mention in a few seconds, or in your own server. The reason behind this is because an ERP is a platform for you to run your day-to-day operations. I think that it's sensible to think that every company, no 2 companies are alike. Every company is very much has processes that are specific to what they do and how they do things. So what I wanted to do, what we wanted to do was, of course, to offer a very robust solution, a very thorough solution for you to be able to utilize one single tool to run your business. But at the same time, if it was the case that you needed to customize some things and personalize them, by all means, you have access to source code, so you can go ahead and create the workflows that you like and you enjoy for your company, for yourself. Functional training as well as partnership knowledge base, going back to what I mentioned to you through 15 years and the iterations that we have had getting to this point that we are at. We've been able to compile all this information pertaining to what becomes a partner, a successful partner, and for you to be able to bask in all this information. So all the functional training as well as the partnership knowledge base is there for you to be able to learn and understand how to grow your business with us at Odoo. Dedicated account management, going back to what we were just mentioning a second ago, business strategy, commercial support, leads and demonstration, not only working with those leads that you're bringing on board for us, but also, of course, if market yields, for us to be able to, of course, grow your business with that. By providing leads on our side. And of course, demonstrations. I think that what better way to give validity to the cost, to the fact that you're giving a demonstration to an end customer, than having an expert run a demonstration for you and with you. Onto the last points here of the benefits. You can publish, again, we're speaking about this conversation about how you can ROI, how you can make money through Odoo, how you can go to market with us at Odoo. One of the best ways for some of our best partners to be able to grow their company is by being able to publish themselves officially onto our company. I think it just adds a lot of value, a lot of clarity, as well as recognition for these partners, for them to say, I've done the trainings, I have an account manager there. And not only that, I think, and by the way, you can ask partners and they'll reach out to them and they'll say, hey, I'm a customer of Odoo already, I bought it online by myself, and I'd like for you to help me do an implementation with this. And so because you're able to publish online, the qualities that make you stand out in the market, not only in your personal market, but also in Odoo's market as a whole, I think it's extremely valuable for you to continue to grow your offering as a platform. So you can, of course, receive potential leads. We currently receive close to 1.6 million. But by the way, these numbers are, I need to update it. I think that we're close to 2 million visits per month, new eyeballs, new imprints. You can add marketing and, of course, publish yourself in any which way that you would think that best suits your company in that stage of growth. And, of course, you can publish your customers, the customers that are utilizing you. And, of course, that adds more validity to you as a partner. And then the last thing that I wanted to mention here about benefits would be access to Odoo.sh. So mentioning Odoo.sh, I think that I have to tell a little bit of a story as to how we got to Odoo.sh and what it is. In the past, we only had 2 ways to host Odoo. And by the way, Odoo is, I think, truly one of the only true platforms, ERP platforms, that can be hosted in any which way that you want. On premises, in the SaaS, in the cloud. There are different systems that it's either on premises or in the cloud, but there's not a hybrid of both. At Odoo, we have always gone to market with the idea that we want to give you flexibility. You can pick and choose the best place for you to host Odoo. If you host it in the SaaS, of course, it's a great tool for you to utilize Odoo as an out-of-the-box product. Of course, being the fact that it's a SaaS, it's a shared cloud, the level of customization is very limited. You do not have access to the source code. You can access a tool called Studio to customize, but it'll get you so far. Now, if you want to integrate with a third-party application, the thought convention in the past, or if you wanted to develop an application on top of it, a specific vertical, would be that you had to go on premises, all right? So you have to download the code, go into an AWS, send a check at the end of the month to Jeff Bezos, or I don't know, make him richer, or something along the lines, or in your own server, in your own infrastructure. So that was the case. Of course, if you go the route of on-premises, it's sensible to think that you now have to become a systems admin or have to hire somebody to maintain the database and, of course, run the data and then maintain it. And then, of course, your developer. So, pardon me. So what happened is that a lot of partners were asking us, hey, we'd like to have a bridge somewhere in the middle where I don't want to become a database admin. At the same time, I find a lot of use of you, the manufacturer, being able to host the database. I just need to customize it a little bit. At the end of the day, that's what people were used to. They were used to customizing the tool because we came from an open source world. So with that, Odoo.sh came to be 3 years ago. Odoo.sh is a hosting environment. It's a platform. It's our platform as a service. It's a platform for you to be able to have staging environments, testing environments, be able to collaborate with other developers. Parallel to the Odoo private repository, you could be running your own repository, and you could verticalize a product. I think that's a very efficient way for you to be able to verticalize a product and go to market with a development that you've created. So Odoo.sh, of course, is a platform that is paid, but the benefit to our partners is that it is it's completely monetizable. And we'll talk a little more about that when it comes down to ROI. But Odoo.sh, our platform as a service, our partners monetize, 100%. Some additional benefits before we dive into the monetization and the ROI is use of the trademark, extension of databases not only for on-premises but also on the SaaS and the platform as a service, private community with partners. You have access to support packs for partners, and a support pack is a really important service that we provide because you want to do an implementation. You want to be able to guide yourself through an implementation. Let's say that you are a brand new customer of Odoo and you would like to see the best course of action that you would have to take in order to run an implementation. Well, you could access our technical leads, our experts, our technical experts, or functional experts, for them to help you in the implementation. So for partners, it's a really great resource because you could utilize these hours for different projects for you to be able to ask more thorough, functional, or even technical questions for you to be able to get to a point where you're able to distribute do a full-blown implementation with the platform. So specifically for the folks that are listening to us, either new partners or folks that want to become partners relatively soon, and they are in that gray area knowing, hey, you know what, I don't necessarily know how to do an implementation or run an implementation. What would be the best way to go about it? Our support packs would be able to help you cross that chasm. And of course, hopefully when we come back to the to being presential, once the whole distancing is out of the way, we may be able to go back to having events at Odoo. We used to actually, one of the cool ways that we used to go to market was by going to certain events and having certain locations and having presential events where we would run a demonstration, talk a little more about Odoo. It would be a meet and greet and so on and so forth. Of course, because of the shutdown, we haven't been able to do that. But what we used to do is that we would pair up with partners, showcase Odoo, similarly to a demonstration that we're doing here, a presentation, do a demonstration of the platform, and then give our partner an open mic for them to be able to explain what it is that they're doing for that specific location, or perhaps talk about a specific industry that they attack or that they go after. So it was a really great way for us to be able to build more new opportunities for our partners to not only grow their visibility in their own location, but also have a community where we would be able to go and have a thorough presentation with them. So that's something that we used to do, and hopefully in the future we'd be able to come back. All right. So knowing all the benefits of our partnership with us at Odoo, I think it's important for us to segue into how you are able to monetize our tool. And by the way, we've broken it in 5 different ways, and we're going to speed run through this because, we've spoken about this in the past, but more importantly, we want to dive right into the return on investment, how you can personally monetize it. So at Odoo, you can monetize the platform of, the partnership of Odoo through the sale of the Odoo Enterprise. To give you an idea, to shed some light, by the way, you can actually go to www.odoo.com/pricing, and in it, you should be able to see the breakdown or the cost of our partnership, of the cost of our licensing. The cost of our licensing is a function of the number of applications that you choose. That's what constitutes your ERP. That's what builds your ERP. And then independent of that, there's a cost associated on a per user basis, right? So that is the cost of use of licensing. Based on what number of users you have underneath your belt, you're able to commission yourself 10% as a ready partner, 15% as a silver partner, and 20% as a gold partner. And the differences are ready partner, 10% mandatory, silver partner, 75 users mandatory, gold partner, 200 users mandatory, right? So these are the tiers. Ready, 10 users, 10% commission, silver, 75 users, 15% commission, gold, 200 users, 20% commission. We, as I mentioned to you, Odoo.sh, you can commission yourself up to $1,728 per year per project. I mentioned to you guys previously 100%. The reason why it's 100% is because the majority of projects fall between that line of up to $1,728 for Odoo.sh. Services. Services is extremely important. Services is the cost of you doing business, the cost of everything from the procurement of the end customer to the end of the end customer. And of course, anything and everything in between, from the consulting, the pre-sales, the implementation and development, the support, and of course the maintenance, which is really important and something that we're trying to push our partners to do because they're able to continue a recurring revenue through their maintenance that they do for their end customers. So the services that you provide are also part of the ways that you can monetize. And by the way, I wanted to mention that regarding the services, the cost that you charge the end customer for the services that you provide, Odoo does not, we will not set parameters upon how much you charge, nor will we charge a commission, if you will. It's yours. Fourth thing, by developing new applications and hosting them in the Odoo store and selling them in the App Store, of course, and then perhaps verticalizing that product. Again, we have 21,000 different applications. We have some applications that are running for extremely popular, maybe running for $500, $600, and there's thousands of downloads on those applications. That's one way that our partners are able to monetize our partnership with Odoo. And the last thing, and I think that is really, really important, and not only to build your business, to build your community, Odoo's community as well, but also build other channels of business, is through specifically larger partners now begin to offer support to other Odoo partners, whether it's new partners or even existing partners. There's a lot of collaboration that goes on from partner to partner. What's important about this is that as an ERP, we try to focus on truly a myriad of different applications in order to satisfy the needs of a day-to-day business. Of course, there are some things along the way that there are some partners that focus on more. For example, we have some partners that focus strictly on e-commerce. We have some partners that focus strictly on website building. We have some partners that focus strictly on MRP and manufacturing. And so if you have a specific customer that has to do something that is not your forte, your niche, then I think it would be sensible to open up that channel for you to be able to speak to other partners, be able to collaborate and offer that level of support. So I think it's extremely, extremely important. And of course, we have seen a lot of very, very good use cases, specifically from larger partners, to being able to continue growing their offering, their communities, by offering other support or services to other partners. All right, so we've talked a lot about Odoo. Let's get to the nitty-gritty. So, by the way, I just wanted to highlight this formula here, the ROI formula, return on investment. So we're going to assume the following. We're going to assume return minus investments divided by investments is what's going to give us our ROI. I do want to highlight before we dive into the use cases that we're doing, and that I took on a couple. I took a couple of assessments before I was doing the presentation. And I wanted to take on a conservative approach to our ROI. I wanted to take on also a relatively pessimistic way of looking at it, at the numbers, more specifically when it comes down to the services, but we'll highlight that once we get there. So the first thing that we want to highlight is that the investment to become a partner is that of $3,950, and this is across the board, right? So whether you're already silver or gold partner, the investment is the same, $3,950. I do want to highlight that those commissions of 15 and then 20% silver and gold partner respectively are incentives that are built within the partnership for you to be able to go to market more aggressively with our tool. So one same cost of partnership across the board. If you could imagine, because there are incentives along the way baked in, it makes far more sense to go become a gold partner and, of course, have more projects underneath your belt. But these were the assumptions that we wanted to take on. The investment was going to be that of $3,950. Now, when it comes to licensing and hosting, I want to be able to assume 3 different projects that are going to speak to the 3 tiers that we have: the Ready partnership, the Silver partnership, and the Gold partnership along the way. And of course, you can go over to our pricing page to see what the pricing we took on for the 15 users and its own application. So the use cases that I'm going to show you are going to be for a small project, a medium project, and a large project, for respectively addressing the needs of a Ready, Silver, and Gold partner. Of course, I'm going to throw a lot of data out to you guys. If you guys have any questions, you can pause the video or perhaps reach out to me and ask me questions in my email, which I will mention afterwards, jhi@odoo.com, or to the right-hand side to my colleagues, Thomas and Guilherme. Small project, 15 users, and respective applications, around $5,000. Odoo.sh, the cost, $1,700.28. That is for a ready partner. Medium-sized project, 75 users, once again for Silver partnership. About $22,000 for users and applications. Odoo.sh, $1,728. Larger project, 200 users and above, $55,000 for users and applications. And Odoo.sh, $1,728. And this is what it ends up looking like for the commissions. For the Ready, for the 500 $5,000 for licensing, you are looking at around a commission of $500. For Odoo.sh, once again, 100% of that, so $1,700.28. For a medium-sized business, we're assuming a commission of 15%. Once again, I have the semi-cost here because once again, I added 75 users and I added 1 or 2 applications, I think at the most, and I just rounded it down, right? So that's why we're assuming 75 users and the applications about $22,000. Of course, the price may vary depending on the applications that you have. So once again, this is why the cost of licensing is a function of the number of users that we have as well as applications. So the cost of that is $22,000. For our silver partner, they would be getting a commission of $3,300 plus Odoo.sh, which equates to the same 100%, $1,728. And then for the larger project, gold, 20%, the 20% of the $55,000 is $11,000. Again, about $11,000 plus the Odoo.sh. I do want to highlight the following, that we are taking a snapshot of the commissions, and of course, in the next slide, the ROI that we will see in the first year, only in year 1. We're not assuming, know that the cost of the licenses that you have and the commissions that you have are recurring for you year over year, so long as the customer is still a customer, so long as you're still a partner. But we're not assuming that in the next slide, in the ROI slide. We're only assuming that a partner, we're seeing a project for a 1-year basis, and we're not assuming a multi-year, nor are we also assuming the recurring costs. So we're only taking a snapshot of one single project here. So for the small project, the ROI calculation is as follows. The commission is that of $2,228, as we see to the left-hand side. Doing our calculation, for one single project as a ready partner, we reach about 60% of our investment. For a medium-sized project, the ROI calculation, our commission is that of $5,028. Of course, going back to my formula, 5,000 minus 3,950 investment divided by investment equals 0.25. And of course, we can see this in terms of percentages as well. The way that we're seeing is that for every dollar spent, how much do I get in return? But of course, we can see it in terms of percentage. And as a gold partner, the commission is that of $12,728, combining the 20% plus Odoo.sh minus 3,950 in investment, going back to the same formula. Our ROI calculation for the project is that of 2.22 per project, per initial project. Now, this is only accounting one project that you have in your belt, that's it, and only assuming the licensing. I want to highlight that our ready partners are producing or implementing, of course, these are the beginning partners, are producing something to the tune of about 10 projects per year. So, of course, project 1.2 or 1.5 pays off the partnership, and of course, everything after that is revenue. Silver partners as well as gold partners are seeing something to the tune of maybe 25 plus projects per year. So, of course, the gold partners tend to have a wider team, and therefore they're able to have more projects that they take care of. So, once again, if you could imagine, if we have a silver partner, they're producing one project, the partnership is paid for in the first project, everything else after that is revenue on top of that, not having to pay for investment. So, one thing that I wanted to highlight here regarding the numbers that we just saw, those are specific to the licensing and the commissions that are owed to you as a partner, licensing as well as hosting. Of course, one thing that I mentioned to you is that our ROI also depends heavily in our services. This is a continuation of the third point. And of course, this pertains to absolutely everything that takes on for you to be able to do the deployment with our customer, with your customer, which is the project manager, the pre-sale, a gap analysis, an ROI analysis, data migration, API development, functional training, management, and then support for your end customer. That is the cost of you doing business. The way that we have seen it is this, is that our partners seem to follow a Pareto law where the total cost of an implementation, or that they charge the end customer, let's say $100,000. We seem to follow a Pareto law when it comes down to licenses versus services that they are able to receive. 80% services, 20% licenses, right? 80% services, 20% licenses that they're able to receive in terms of revenues. I wanted to add, I didn't want to leave a vague number out there. I wanted to add a cost per hour so we can really are able to dive into the ROI and really be able to see how it is that folks like yourself are able to derive value from this partnership. And so I want to be cautious when it comes down to this, but I wanted to highlight that the cost per hour really depends on a lot of factors. It really depends on location, the type of service, the length of the contract, the size of the project, and maybe if you know the customer or not. So it really, really depends on a lot of different factors. And we have seen, and some partners have mentioned that they could be billing somewhere to the tune of $125 and $300 per hour for the projects that they're releasing. And $125 is, of course, on the lowest end. $300 tends to be more in the upper echelon. Of course, we are omitting a couple of different partners that are really knocking it out of the park because it would just skew the entire distribution here. But yeah, so 120. In the next slide, we're going to be assuming a couple of different assumptions. We're going to be overly pessimistic on the pricing, which is $125 per hour, and then we're going to be extremely generous as to how long it would take to implement the project. Again, this is only seeing it on a pessimistic way for us to be able to derive at least the worst case scenario for our return on investment. So again, small project, license, and services for 25 hours. Once again, the small project was the 15 users that we had. I'm only assuming a services of 25 hours and how that would look. That would look as a total revenue of $5,353 for that small project, and an ROI, again, worst case scenario, pessimistically, of 0.35. One single project, not accounting for anything else except for your first project. Second project, medium-sized business, 75 users. We are assuming, again, I'm being extremely generous with 100 hours. We know that it could take more like 200 hours to this project. I'm just, once again, being cautious and pessimistic here. Assuming at $125 per hour for 100 hours, we're looking at $17,000, $17,528 to be more precise. ROI of one project, 3.43. Again, in terms of percentages, 300%. Larger projects, licensing plus services, once again, pessimistically speaking, seeing it the worst case scenario, 200 hours. We know that it can be more than 200 hours for specifically a 200-person project. A licensing commission, $12,000, $12,728. Licensing, services for $125 an hour, 200 hours. Total of revenue at minimum, $37,728, an ROI of 0.55. I also want to mention, and it's something that we're pushing for our partners, is that we're not including the recurring revenues for the licensing. Of course, this is a one-time snapshot of what is happening for one single project. We're not including recurring revenues. And more importantly, our partners, in this case, we're not assuming that our partners are including the recurring revenues for maintenance. Maintenance is something that is extremely important, specifically if you're going to be developing. It's something that we want to be able to push our partners to be able to grow their company by offering these recurring revenues. So it's not a one-time implementation that you do, it's a consistent implementation, not only for year after year, but also for the maintenance that you're developing onto the platform. And just know, once again, that for the base code of Odoo, that you're providing to the end customer, we will have your back. We'll be able to work with you along the way regarding that maintenance. So why now? Why partnership now? This, once again, goes back to the very beginning. We were able to just see how monetarily you're able to revenue through Odoo and be able to build a business around the idea of Odoo, be able to successfully pay off the implementation either in one project or 1.5. If it's a relatively small project, a very small project, 1.5 projects, not including the services. With the services, we are above that. But why now? We are growing, and we're growing tremendously. I think that this year alone in the San Francisco offices, we're planning on hiring 100 more individuals. Not only does it highlight in the number of individuals that we're hiring in my colleagues, but also it's a direct reflection of the number of customers that are actively looking for our services. And so by that, we want to offer our partnership for the folks that are attending, for them to be able to come into partnership. Some folks ask, and of course capitalize onto that wave that is growing and that tremendous growth that is happening. So some people ask, what are the requirements for a partnership? The requirements are such: a ready partner, we need 10 users. We've mentioned this in the past. 10 users, 1 certification. Silver partner, 75 users, 2 certifications. Gold partner, 200 users, 3 certifications. And the cost and investment of official partnership is that of $3,950, as we mentioned in the past. So before we go, I wanted to, for the folks that are sticking around, I wanted to mention that we have a quick gift towards the end, an incentive, if you will. I wanted to thank each and every single one of you for attending our webinar. I think that we went over a couple of minutes here, but I hope that you were able to derive some information from this webinar. Should you have any questions, please contact me. My name is JC Hinkaby. This is my email address, jhi@odoo.com. I work in the partnerships team, and I'd be more than happy to help you sort of understand the processes as to how it could best fit into your company, and perhaps do a couple of ROI scenarios for your company to see if it fits your entity to become a partner of ours. So once again, thank you very much for attending our webinars. I hope that you guys stick around. I look forward to answering any of your questions. And yeah, for the folks that stuck around, these are the incentives that we have. If you become a partner, by the way, we have a deadline for Friday the 30th at noon Pacific time. If you become a partner, we will be able to get 1 certification, which is free. If you want to access those support packs, I encourage them, and you have a 30% discount on your support packs right away. And then, oh, give me 1 second. I think that we have some questions here. Let me see if I'm able to. And then the last thing, by the way, we have a pilot program, and this is extremely, extremely important for folks that are in the technical aspect of things. In the past, our technical training cost $2,500. $2,500, and it had to be presential. It was a boot camp that you had to go and attend. Really great tool for you to get to know Odoo in the technical way. And of course, that was paid for. It was a service that we provided in the past. It was a class that you had to take on here. We are shifting things around a little bit, and we want to be able to grow our partnership specifically with folks that are in the technical space. And by that, we want to offer a 100% technical training this month only. It's a pilot program that we are launching, and we want to be able to see if it actually works. And so we don't know if it's going to stay. And so by that, we have up until the 30th to close. So once again, if you have any questions pertaining to this, if you want to take advantage of this incentive that we have, please contact me, jhi@odoo.com. Once again, I thank you for your attention. Follow us. And I wanna, and yeah, I look forward to chatting with you guys. Hope you guys have a great afternoon. Yeah, and I will see you guys in the next one.